Hello, my name is Mark Helm, and I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Self-Storage Quick Start Academy. You can go to creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com, quickstartacademy.com, find out more about the products and services we offer you. I help people who are getting in the self-storage business, or people who are in the self-storage business and want to grow their business, do so in a strategic way that creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. And I've just gotten back from the 2016 SSA, Self-Storage Association Convention, and I wanted to share some of the takeaways that I got from being at that convention. But it was a strange experience. This is the first time in a number of years I've been there where I didn't have a booth. So I was going to the classes, participating in all the education. I met a few of you all out there, but for the most part, I was there just for myself and my company, and it was a different experience. To be honest, I really miss being in the booth and getting a chance to connect one-on-one with many of you that I see when I do that. So just know that I will do what I need to do next year to make sure I register in time to get a booth. But it was probably very good for myself and my company because I could be there and focus on myself, and I could be there and focus on our company's growth. And I wanted to share with you some of the kind of global takeaways I got. So first of all, I really got validated that there is a very bright future in the upcoming years and upcoming decade for our product. Basically for three reasons, and we've talked about them before, but a larger percentage of the population is using self-storage today. Each year, the percentage of people who use self-storage goes up, number one. Number two, the population itself is growing. So as a larger percent of the population uses our product and the population itself is increasing, that exponentially creates more demand. And the third reason is some of the fundamental demand drivers are still in good shape. In other words, home ownership, it was at its peak at about 69%. Currently, it's still at 62%. Theoretically, more multifamily users use self-storage. Why? Well, because usually they live in smaller places, and people who live in apartments tend to move more than people who live in homes. Moving and transition is a driver for our industry. So many of the fundamentals are still in place. We have a bright future. However, one thing that I learned from this convention that I really I knew, but I've not taken into account as I'm analyzing markets and analyzing projects up front, doing my preliminary analysis, is this is the first time in my self-storage career where I've come off we're 12 months into a big construction boom. The construction boom of 2004 to 2007 or 6 or 7, I didn't participate in. I was in the business from 99 to 2003, and I got back in 2008. So I missed that one construction boom. And this is the first time in my career I've been in an industry that's 12 months into a construction boom. How does that impact us? Well, when I'm looking at a facility early on in the stages trying to determine if this is a market or this is a facility or this is a piece of land that I'm going to go for, one of the things that I do is I go to all my competitors in the area. I see if the competitors are leased up or if they're empty, if they're offering a lot of specials, if they're not offering a lot of specials, if their pricing is good, and I get a feel for what their occupancy is. Are they discounting to get people in, or do they not have many units in many sizes? If they're not discounting, their prices are good, they occur full, they don't have a lot of units, that tells me that there's still unmet demand most likely in that submarket. And I would proceed from there, do my preliminary analysis, and maybe even put it under a letter of intent or contract. But what's missing now in that process is that we are 12 months into a construction boom. So What does that mean? Well, one of the very important things in the self-storage business is the real risk is a new competitor going to come into your sub-market and take some of your market share away. That would affect demand. Right now, depending on the market you're in, there could be a considerable number of properties in some stage of entitlement that would affect your market and the sub-market that you're looking at. And as you're doing your preliminary analysis now, you've got to start taking that into account. Now, yes, it'll be found out in a feasibility report. However, I need to know ahead of time so I'm not getting a number of feasibility reports that I end up having to walk away from. You know, each feasibility report could be anywhere from $3,500 to $10,000. Do 3 or 4 of those where you find out there's 2 properties in some form of entitlement in your submarket, and you won't be in business long. So at this stage of our career, we've got to up our game once again, and we've got to take into account in the preliminary process of analyzing a facility or a market or a piece of land, how many properties are in some stage of entitlement. Let's look at Dallas, for example. I learned at the convention there are 125 self-storage properties in some stage of entitlement in that market. Now, will all 125 come in to service? Probably not. Usually 50 to 60% of properties that are in some form of entitlement actually hit the market. But even if you take 50% of 125, that would be a significant number of properties hitting the market. How we do it is we take the average size in a market, or the average size nationally tends to be between 54,000 and 58,000. If there's 71 properties in some form of entitlement, you can take 71 times 54,000, and that tells you how many new square feet are going to be coming into the Dallas market. Then look at the current Dallas population, look at the population growth trends in that market, and that can tell you how much demand there can be, potential demand, and you can look very easily and see how much product is currently there. You can do an estimate of how much product's going to be coming online. Now, all that's very good, but what's real important is your sub-market. So I'm working on a model, one sheet takeaway, where we can check off, go online, make calls, and find out, or at least attempt to find out in the very early stages, how many properties are in some stage of entitlement that could affect this sub-market. That doesn't mean that I would walk away from Dallas. It means I'm going to be very, very careful as I look at the particular sub-markets in that market itself, knowing that there's X number of square feet coming onto the market. Now, I'm exploring 2 to 3 different options that we can go to get a sense of how many properties are in some form of entitlement. I will keep you informed as I find out a simple way for us to do that in the very preliminary stages that doesn't cost anything or doesn't cost much. I will tell you. One way is you can call the regulatory agencies in whatever township, county, or market that you're in, and find out if there's a simple website that they have that can tell you that. Many of them do. When people do the feasibility reports, that's often where they go. But it's important now, coming 12 months off of a construction boom, that we up our game and that we attempt in the very early stages where we're not spending a lot of time, or if we're comparing 2 properties or 2 markets with each other, that we start taking into account how many facilities could be in some form of entitlement and go from there. I'm going to create a one-sheet takeaway. As soon as that's complete, I'll let you know. If you're a course member, it'll be added to the course automatically and be there for you. And it's time, once again, that we all up our game in this industry. So thank you very much. My name is Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer. It is a cloud-based financial analysis tool for the self-storage industry alone, and what it does is it helps you analyze the value of a property, the future cash flows you can expect from a property, and if you do it correctly, it can be a very accurate and supportive tool for you, especially if you're not good with numbers and if you're not good with Excel spreadsheets. Check it out, storageworldanalyzer.com, creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com. My name's Mark Helm. Thank you very much. Let me know how you're doing.